Next on Belmont Park Live, Fire Key's last was her career best. But will her flame burn out, or can she build off the first stakes win of her career? John and Tanya Gunther, bred Triple Crown winner Justify. We'll hear why their win in the St. James's Palace ranks even higher on their list. And Oscar Performance was a scene stealer in Sunday's Grade 3 poker. We'll have more on his brilliant return to the races and what lies ahead. All that and more coming up on this Wednesday edition of Belmont Park Live. It's presented by Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Another beautiful afternoon here as we get set for the start of a late pick four sequence here as we kick off another week of racing. Good to be with you. Welcome to those watching on MSG Plus. Greg Wolf, former LA Dodger, New York Met, and New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. I almost said LA Met.
Well, the Dodgers and Mets are playing here, so
right,
you're getting
exactly.
They can have the Mets.
Sorry. We got some good races coming up this afternoon, and we got beautiful weather ahead as well. Maybe a key to this pick four sequence, who we talked about in that open, Fire Key, returning off the bench. Can she be as good as she was the last time we saw her?
Well, listen, she's in tremendous form, Andy. We've talked about her a couple times, and she's a mare that doesn't really disappoint. She's won 5 times out of 17 starts, 6 seconds. She brings her, lunch pail every time she comes, but now she's off a little bit of a layoff.
Right. She hasn't run in over 6 months, and she's a horse that got her act together later in the year. And obviously, if she runs her last race, and she appears to be the main speed in this race, which won't hurt her chances, but she's got to run well off the layoff because there are others in here with talent.
That happens in our feature race. That is the 8th on the card. Race 6 kicks off the pick four with 13 minutes to post. 6 furlongs on the main track for horses who have not won 2 lifetime. Then we go on the turf. For non-winners of 3 lifetime, it's 7 furlongs. The Fire Key race is over the inner turf, an allowance optional claiming group, and close things out with a very contentious New York bred maiden special weight mile on the grass, and that race is wide open. Weather and track conditions brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on Pascon, main track fast, turf course is firm. And race 6, take a look at the field coming up in this group. Again, non-winners of 2 lifetime, 6 furlongs. Ribbonite right now the favorite.
She looks to be the speed of the speed. There's a lot of speed in this race, and she may have to run fast to get the lead. But you have to think, Paul, putting Kendrick Carmouche on this runner means they want to go to the front.
Yeah, I'm with you. And she's definitely the horse to catch. Now, when you're looking at a horse that maybe I thought was vulnerable, but then you look at the stat and you're like, wow, look at this crazy stat. Perfume Lady won first time out as your favorite for $50,000. And it was a very low buyer. They ran 47 buyer. The number came back not that good. She drifts out in the lane.
She's tough to like off this.
She's tough to like after watching this.
Right.
Really,
she's hard
really
to like, and normally I would be completely dismissive of her, but that chat from Todd Pletcher, I'm still betting against her.
Can you repeat it real quick in case anyone didn't catch it?
Todd Pletcher is 17 for 27, 63% over the last 5 years, with horses that broke their maidens in their debuts, coming back in claiming races and dirt sprints.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely unreal.
63%.
Now, to be fair, with a dollar ROI of 225, their horse that paid an average of 380, and this horse is a much bigger price, but it's still outrageous.
But 4 out of 5 of them are in the money. That's even crazier.
Toss at your own peril. Time for a paddock report. We're going to check in for the first time today with Maggie Wolfendale. This report brought to you by Hallandale Farm Stand in Curlin for $150,000.
Wow, that is some stat for trainer Todd Pletcher, and we'll see if he can get it done here today with Perfume Lady. And as you guys said, yeah, that replay, well, it doesn't leave you with the most confidence. Looking at her here, she is a filly who is a bit more on the smaller side, indicative of that kind of quickness that she at least showed in her first race. She comes back in here very fit, but relative to some of the others in here, there are others I would prefer, though she is extremely dangerous. Moving on to number 9, Pure Praise, who I know a lot of people may like in here. She goes first time out here for trainer Jeremiah Engelhardt. And what I can say is that she seems as though that her best race came when she secured an easy lead, which was over a sloppy track. Now, I don't have any notes on her prior, so I can't compare her in relative terms to her previous efforts. But I will say that today she is a lot more keyed up, or she is very keyed up. So either that's a negative in that she's kind of nervous because she's also gotten a bit hot here, or it could be a positive in that she should show a little bit more speed. But then again, there's a lot of speed in here, and I don't know if that's really what you want to have given the makeup of this affair. Moving on to number 5, Giant Boxer. Maybe a little bit of a dirtied up type of runner here for Rudy Rodriguez, but from the overall sense of physicality, kind of like her the most, as she will be one that I don't think necessarily needs the lead in here and will be perfectly content sitting back off of it and hopefully coming with one run. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. We have the pick 4 coming up. There was a massive carryover in the pick 6 today. $235,671 going in. Started back in race 4. Daria's Angel, Be Gone Daddy, first 2 winners. Now, neither of them terribly difficult to come up with, but of course in the pick 6, you got to find where to narrow things down somewhere.
You probably had them, but you might have gone 4 by 4 to get there just because they were shorter prices, so it's not easy.
You can get signed up, started. You can play along in all these wagers we're talking about by going to NyraBets.com. You get a $200 sign-up bonus by using the promo code LIVE. Bet any track, anytime, anywhere. Go to NyraBets.com, and you can play this pick 4, which Paul did.
Listen, this is the pick 4 that you have to take a shot in race number 7 to figure out who the better horse is. You know, this is a tough race here, so I try to get 4 to come out of here. Race number 7, I like Belgian. Now, Belgian switched the barns to Joe Sharp, who has won a couple of races, but this horse has got races to go back to that are really tough to beat in here. But I don't truly trust. And then 3, 4, 9, and like you said, Greg, in the open, race number 9 is very difficult with a lot of horses. You're trying to turf for the first time, and a lot of horses that have run sort of the same race, so I went deep in that race.
Okay. And
no Wheatfield, right?
All kinds of coverage in that last race, as we talked about at the top of the show, very wide open.
Yeah, no Wheatfield hurts you a little bit, though, right?
I like Wheatfield a little bit. I think has a chance.
She does, but she doesn't win. I don't think she can win the race.
Oh, we're going to find out. They haven't run it yet.
That's true. Thanks for that, Greg.
Thanks, Andy.
And at a big price.
How about the 8 here, Ribbonite?
At a big price, a little interesting. Yeah, here's a look at the 8. Ribbonite, 5-2, still current favorite. Kendrick Carmouche, Danny Gargan, second off the claim and showed speed last start trying to get on the turf, but it was taken off.
She did. It was a much tougher field last time out. Now, listen, it's not that the pace was slow, but I think she's a horse that needs an aggressive ride. Now, listen, if it turns out other people in here go quickly and she can't secure an easy lead, then so be it. She's not going to win. But she was claimed by a very sharp outfit going into her last start. Still, she's also 1 for 16 lifetime in the favorite.
Called a post from Sam the Bugler. Again, now winners at 2 lifetimes, 6 furlongs here. And here's Shanghai Glory. Steve Asmus and Irad Ortiz, Junior for Bloom Racing.
Beat Seam, who broke her maiden in her last start, but that was a very weak field. I don't like her in this spot.
Speed from the rail. The 2, She's a Kitty Cat, trained by James Ferraro.
You know, she's really improved in James' barn, and not the worst long shot here, but I don't know about 14-1. You probably want a little bit more than that.
If you like 63%, how about this move? Todd Pletcher, Luis Saez. We're going to see Perfume Lady here in just a moment, and her price, this can't make you feel all that good. 7-1 right now.
Well, based on her first race, she should probably be 77-1. Based on that stat, maybe she should be even money in here. She's tough to like just on her PPs.
Ruby Warrior, slight exaggeration there with those odds.
Well, I don't
Ruby
know.
Warrior.
You didn't like her.
Linda Rice, Junior Alvarado.
You know, this horse at 18-1 won first time out, and then she threw in a clunker on the slop, so you really don't know what you're getting. And it seems like Linda prices are right here.
Giant Boxer, the 5 in here. David Cohen, Rudy Rodriguez, turf to dirt.
He's an interesting horse returning the dirt. She did not run well enough to compete in her first start, but she did in her second.
My Girl Annie is the 6 for Gary Contessa, second off the claim.
This is the classic case of a horse that's getting bet from back numbers on a different trainer, yet the last race, this horse was basically eased.
7 horses tee up. It's Javier Castellano, Michelle Nevin.
Really improved last time, the second start for Michelle Nevin, and a similar effort or improved effort makes her very tough.
And still favored. Here's Ribbonite, Kendrick Carmouche, and Danny Gargan.
Listen, Danny took a shot at Tougher, and now he drops back to where he basically claimed this filly. Will she go gate to wire?
Pure praise on the outside here. Manny Franco and Jeremiah Engelhardt.
As Maggie hinted at, she needs to show the ability to rate a little bit. She's still an interesting horse making a barn change and draws well outside.
So that's your field. We got 215,000 plus and growing in this pick 4 pools. We take a look here at tee up, 9-2 on the board, and dropped down into this level. Last time out, wound up second, close to the pace.
I think she's a very dangerous player in here, but she's also a horse that's forwardly placed. Now, she's not going to run with the 8 early, so she's got to show that she can rate. I'll tell you something else, Paula. The dirt races I've watched so far today, I don't know that you want to be on the rail, and I think that's something to pay attention to. We don't have a lot of dirt races, but we do have one here.
Yeah, you make a good point there. And you know what? I thought that was a good race. She got something out of it. Her last race, she really didn't do anything. She stumbled, and she sort of got backed out.
I mean, 2 back.
Yeah, 2 back, I mean. So I think she's going to be fitter today. I like how she fought on. She really didn't, like, give it up there late because that horse just sort of put her away. So
she ran fast enough to win this race.
The thing is, can she run with Ribbonite early? Can she run with anybody else? Then she's going to have to pass horses. Can she pass horses?
That's the question. I mean, that's the question, I think, with a lot of the contenders in here. It's the question for pure praise in this race. I think it's a general question. Maybe that's something that makes a horse like Giant Boxer more appealing. She feels like a horse that might be able to rate a little bit.
Ribbonite's going to be aggressive with Kendrick Carmouche, the 8 horse in here. 5-2, still favored in the spot. Let's go downstairs to Maggie for more.
Guys, another horse that it looks to have some early speed is number 1 in here, Shanghai Glory. And I mean, what else can you do with her from the rail? She's, at least in her first 2 races, showed to be a bit of an erratic type. And unfortunately, for the 3rd time in a row, she draws the rail, which I'm sure her connections are desperate to try to get her in a different post position. But she's a little bit kind of funny with her head. If you watch her last replay, she kind of wants to bear in, bear out, and has a bit of a light mouth, it appears. But I will say that today, second time out for this barn, is a lot more relaxed and calm. So we'll see if that parlays into the way that she runs here today. I think it is also optimistic that the horses, or that the connections are putting her in a race as opposed to non-2 for 16, but putting her in here for the non-2 for 25, which I think shows maybe that she's doing well. We'll see. She looks great, and I like the fact that, as I said, a little more even keel in her demeanor. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thanks. Well, the going certainly get a lot tougher, and the way that she won last time out going to be a lot more difficult today.
Well, I mean, Maggie hit on important notes, and she feels there's a chance. I mean, she can't obviously predict the future, but she may act a little bit better. It's a funky going horse watching her last race and breaking from the inside with so much more speed. She feels to me like a horse that's likely to be outrun the entire way.
Yeah, it's a tough read. You really don't know until you see her. I mean, she's got to get pushed, I guess, from the inside. I mean,
she's not going to run with these horses.
I don't know if she can run with them. And the thing is like, it does include a horse. I see why the 2's getting played, because somebody has to come from off the pace. But the horse can't win the race. I think the horse, the 2. Or the 1, because the 1's going to have to run every step of the way. There's too much speed on the outside. So when you get to the 2 or the 5, now the 5's a better option, because to me the 5 can maybe pass some horses in here in Giant Boxer. And he's dropping in class. She's dropping in class. She's got to win. She didn't face much, though.
She can't win this race if she runs the same race she ran when she won her debut. That was a dreadful effort against a dreadful field. But her second start, which was actually a race that was dominating the front end, she got a bad ride by a rider who wins a low percentage. She was way back early behind a slow pace. She made this ridiculous middle move in there, but I guess she almost had to do because the way the race was setting up. And she actually ran well enough in her second start to suggest she's good enough to win this race. And she's going turf to dirt for Rui Rodriguez, who has decent numbers turf to dirt as well.
Meanwhile, 3-year-old filly on the outside, Pure Praise. She last raced at Keeneland. She's coming off back-to-back 4th-place finishes as she tries New York for the first time.
If you like her at all, and I'm using her, I think, Paul, you're banking on Jeremiah Englehart improving her off of the trainer change.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I tepidly threw her in because she's got her lone wins on the slop. I don't like that when the lone wins on the slop and there's just really, really no dirt for him. She's almost run the same race on the dirt. I know she's been right there, but look at the field sizes. 6 horses, 8 horses. She needs to improve to beat these, I think.
4-1 on the board. She is the current second choice. The 9 filly outside, Pure Praise. Gate open. Try and get Giant Boxer, the 5 filly, in without a problem for Rudy Rodriguez. It is still Ribbonite, the 8.
2-1.
Probably the one to catch and the one to beat on the board. It's the start of the late pick 4. And there's Kendrick Carmouche on the speedster. Just 1 for 16 lifetime
She's going to pop out of that gate like a rock. She's bet, and I picked her, but 2-1 is too short for me to bet her alone in here. I think that money is meaningful, and she's going to pop out of the gate and just, we'll see. We'll see how fast she has to go.
Let's send it upstairs. The voice of horse racing's Triple Crown has the call. Let's go to Larry Colmus.
Last couple of runners coming up the line now. Ribbonite and Pure Praise will complete the line. Ribbonite stepping forward at odds of 2-1. And Pure Praise and Manny Franco coming up to the outside stall to complete the line. Going in. They're all in line. They're off. Ribbonite goes out of there quickly, and so does Tee Up. These two out to the front together, and right behind them on the rail is Perfume Lady, who came out running in third, but will be shuffled back there, not getting through that opening on the inside. My Girl Annie is next, and then Ruby Warrior, break of 2 lengths back to Giant Boxer. Pure Praise on the outside is next, and then comes Shanghai Glory, and she's a kitty cat. Racing for the turn, and Ribbonite's got some early company from Tee Up. 23:04 the first quarter. Ribbonite now gets away to lead by a length. Tee Up is second by 2. My Girl Annie is third. Ranging up on the outside is Shanghai Glory, who's closing from the back of the pack. Now up into third and getting closer to the pace setters. Giant Boxer is wide on the turn. Pure Praise is in behind them. And then Perfume Lady on the inside. They're coming to the top of the stretch with Ribbonite to catch. A 46.7 half-mile. Ribbonite off the turn in front. The leader by a length and a half to Tee Up. And then comes My Girl Annie to the outside. Flattening out there, Shanghai Glory. She's a kitty cat on the far outside. Then Pure Praise, final 16th. It's Ribbonite and Tee Up trying to battle her on, but Ribbonite's got it. Ribbonite's going to do it here. Tee Up's going to be second, and then My Girl Annie, and she's a kitty cat in 111.56.
Winds up going off at 7-5 is the favorite. At post time, Ribbonite under Kendrick Carmouche kicks off this late pick 4.
The money is so sharp, and I picked her. Hard to believe she went 7-5, but she was able to control towards the front end. But it was a race, Paul, where the speeds basically ran 1-2 around the racetrack together.
They really did. And the 7 sort of battled back for a split second. You thought that she was going to maybe contest here. The 2's going to roll up again. She's the only one that makes up any ground here and runs a nice little 4th, but there's just no doubt about Ribbonite. They hit her late. 6 runs a nice 3rd here at 24-1. So if you get a little bit of the super, it's not that bad. Got
pressured from the 7 Tee Up, still able to get the job done. Let's go back to the 1. Keep your eyes on the inside. The other speedster in this race and veers out left.
Well, we discussed beforehand. Maggie touched on it. We talked about it as well. She's a bad actor, and as we've said before, horses like to run to empty spaces.
Yeah, they do. Especially when they're outside or inside. They usually lug in, lug out, and it's just a hindrance when they do have the 1 hole and they're inexperienced like that. And great call by Maggie.
8-7, 6-2, 7-5 on Ribbonite. The upsets, they began right off the bat at the Royal Meeting. 33-1 in the Queen Anne, and more to come. We'll recap what went down on day 1 and more from the Royal Meeting right after this.
An undefeated graded stakes winner on the track, Algorithms was the nation's #1 sire of 2-year-olds in 2017 by percentage of winners. His top runners include multiple graded stakes performer Rich Mommy, winner of the Grade 3 Sugar Swirl, multiple stakes winner and graded stakes performer Recruiting Ready, and stakes winners He Hate Me and Sunset Ridge. In the ring, his yearlings have commanded prices up to $220,000. Algorithms, standing at Claiborne Park. His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live and Ribbonite Kendrick Carmouche got the jump on this field. Got tested early on, though, from tee up, able to put that one away and sprint first to the wire for trainer Danny Gargan. James Riccio pays $4.80 for the win. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Standing by with winning owner Jimmy Riccio with Ribbonite. And Jimmy, I'd asked you last time, first off the claim, this was your first horse with Danny Gargan. You tend to kind of branch out to other people's, but kind of talk about how you forged a relationship with Danny Gargan.
Just being at the racetrack, and, you know, he seems pretty sharp, and, you know, sometimes other guys really can't take a horse, something like that. So you need other options. And Danny he's a good option.
He's great off the claim as well. Obviously, Ribbonite winning second off the claim, but you're pretty big in that business. Talk about kind of your strategy when it comes to finding horses.
I throw darts. Nah, I look at the racing form and then maybe look at sheets and things like that and just pay attention to replays and that kind of stuff.
All right, well, are we going to get another one with Danny?
Hopefully.
Congratulations here, Jimmy, with Ribbonite.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Nice start together.
He's being very coy.
It is, right?
I feel as though there are some secrets that Jimmy is not revealing.
Start of big things to come, perhaps. First of many. Ribbonite, $4.80 for the win to kick off this late pick four.
Yeah, congratulations to this daughter, Griffinite, at the Western Expression Mare, Western Lariat. Ribbonite was 0 for 11 and or 0 for 10 the last 2 years and 0 for 3 at Belmont, but not today.
Now 1 for 2, though, for Danny Gargan and Jimmy. And I see as Jimmy's a friend of mine. Also, his son, Jimmy Riccio, is Jose Ortiz's agent, who is on his way back from Ascot.
Yeah, true.
And that's why Kendrick Carmouche was on this horse, probably.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because Joe Bravo, also, Jimmy has his book as well. That's one of the reasons I thought they really wanted speed. They really wanted Kendrick to come out. Now, I know maybe Joe wasn't available as well.
Royal Ascot meet, day one. Talk about fireworks. Race that has been happening for a long, long time. It always traditionally opens up this meet. The Queen Anne, biggest price winner in the history of this event.
Yeah, and none of the short prices near showed up whatsoever. They didn't hit the top 4. And for anybody that watched this on NBC, the emotional reaction from the winning connections and the trainer, it was really great. It was just a great moment.
Eve Johnston-Houghton, winning trainer, her mother actually bred this horse, and she was in the winner's circle in tears. It's just so special to win at a meet like this.
No, I mean, it was a terrific racing moment, a terrific life moment, but a life moment in racing.
Accidental Agent, 33-1. Meanwhile, in the Group 2, Coventry, Calyx by the freshman sire Kingman, John Gosden's former champion Myler. This horse looks like he could be pretty special. He
might have moved a little soon in here, Greg. I mean, this horse opened up like 3 or so, and it's tough to tell. I love when the field splits, and there's the 2 halves. Because,
and he's all by himself there.
I mean, I'm thinking this horse is going to win off by a pole, and now the second and third place finisher, I think the third place finisher was the second choice, Prokofiev, the composer. They made it a little close at the end. Nice horse, though.
John Gosden said this horse, a little bit like his jockey, Frankie Dettori, is a bit full of himself. But very, very talented. What a day for Gosden and Dettori. A treble on the opening day of the meet. And the Kings stand. Blue points for Godolphin. Charles Appleby with William Buick aboard. Get the job done, and disappointing 7th for Lady Aurelia.
The world is his oyster. Can't help myself.
Wow, that was
ran down the favorite here, too, actually. The co-favorite. I think Lady Aurelia was favored. A very nice horse for Shadwell in the front end. Horse ran well. You know, Buchero, the U.S. horse that came over, I mean, he ran a solid 5th in this race.
4 races for Blue Point at Ascot. 3 wins and a 3rd. Horse for course?
I guess. Or how about just a good horse?
Yeah.
This horse won this race pretty easily.
In the St. James's Palace, Dettori and Gosden team up again and complete that treble without parole. Homebred for John and Tanya Gunther, who, of course, bred Justify, the father-daughter team. They get it done with a half-brother to 2016 Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner, Tom Marcuse.
I'll tell you, this horse, being the Gunther's own and bred this horse, we could easily see in the Breeders' Cup. And the St. James Palace, always one of the best races of the year for the milers for 3-year-olds, because you'll bring together, as you did, I think, yesterday, the winner of the French, English, and Irish Guineas. And a lot of times they go on to face olders in the Sussex at Goodwood. It's a very good horse.
Here's the father-daughter team on just how special this win is for them.
we're so excited. I just I have no words. It's just like unbelievable. I can't believe it.
It's a dream come true. You know, all the 20 years I've been coming to Royal Ascot, my dream was to just have a horse run at Royal Ascot and to start in a Group 1 and do it. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just incredible.
And your daughter, who's in floods of tears next to you, was responsible for the mating of this horse.
Yes, of course. She's the brains.
Oh, not to tie. He loves Franco. He always wanted to breed. Anything he could breed to Franco, he would breed to Franco.
Ed and the team on the podium, and Francesca, they were talking about you breeding Justify, but you were on record in the lead-up saying this would mean more if you were to win here at Royal Ascot.
And it did and does and always will. Rest of my life.
The crown is huge, too. Come on, Dad.
This was the most important.
Come on, Dad.
No, I'm serious. This meant everything to me.
So just in case you did not catch that, these two bred a Triple Crown winner. They're saying that win meant more to them than Justify winning the Triple Crown. It's
pretty crazy.
Well,
incredible.
They also own this horse. Let's be fair.
True. Yeah.
They don't own Justify.
Yeah, but still, it's pretty amazing. What, 2 weeks? 2 week span? Pretty amazing.
I find myself crying at the racetrack a lot too. I just not because I've won a race.
Exactly. Yeah, it'd be nice to be on the other side of things. Shaw, real quick there, Royal Ascot. We have a hit and split $1 million bonus, and that pick 4 tomorrow begins actually in race 1 in the Norfolk Stakes. So visit NyraBets.com for details on that $1 million hit and split. We're going to take a break in the action. Justify. Oh, speaking of the Triple Crown winner, he has returned home, and he looks better than he did going into the Triple Crown. We'll visit with him back in Southern California when we come back on Belmont Park Live. Stay tuned.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With NyraBets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. NyraBets, racing's best play.
Nightcap switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. He has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice Ellis. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Back on Belmont Park Live, we're underway in the pick 4. We're going to set up race 7 when we return. It seemed just like yesterday. We had a Triple Crown winner here, Justify, joining American Pharoah, both from the Bob Baffert barn, making history, and Justify after being paraded in front of the fans at Churchill Downs just this past weekend, back home in Southern California and returned to a hero's welcome. He leads off. What's trending? And here he is. I mean, how good does he look having gone through a Triple Crown? It doesn't look like he's dropped a pound.
3. I think he dropped 3 pounds.
I mean, he looks
That's what it was, right? It's amazing. I think he lost 3 pounds, they said.
Incredible.
Which is remarkable.
It is remarkable. There's the backside of Santa Anita and a ton of people there. And you know what? One thing you got to give Jimmy and
Jimmy Barnes, the assistant trainer.
Jimmy Barnes and his assistant who's been with Bob forever. They've been so gracious, especially with American Pharoah. And Bob told us before that, different ball game. American Pharoah was a puppy dog you could pet. This horse, he says you got to stay away. He'll bite you. He's more of a linebacker type. So, but they're so gracious with their time with the media and stuff like that. It's good with the Triple Crown. Obviously, we knew a Triple Crown, but give it up for the Baffert camp.
Jimmy Barnes been with Bob Baffert since 1998, and actually back when Justify was a 2-year-old. Of course, he hadn't started yet. Jimmy Barnes actually got injured. He was on the sidelines for a little bit, laid up in a hospital. It didn't take him very long to get back to action, but that was, for him, still keeping up on everything on the cell phone. He didn't miss a beat.
He obviously does an amazing job. And, you know, there are a lot of assistants that do amazing jobs. People behind the scenes, and not just assistants, obviously grooms and everybody that contributes in the barn. But behind every great trainer, there's at least one great assistant, and that's Jimmy Barnes.
Yeah, that's true.
Meanwhile, a horse that we saw here, maybe the horse who was the most impressive in defeat, Mind Your Biscuits, in the Met Mile, losing a very, very hard-fought race to beat Jersey. What's he pointing to next?
The Whitney, and the Whitney's the biggest handicap race we run all year, arguably, in the country. And I love that Chad Summers has taken the shot. Obviously, we have no idea if he can be as good around 2 turns at that level. We don't know. But first of all, the field's not containing any killers right now. There were more disappointments than anything else than last week, Stephen Foster. And he already, I think, has a stud deal in Japan. So it's not like he's looking to make money. He's taking a shot. It's a sporting thing to do. It's a fun thing to do. It'll make the race better.
May train up to the race as well.
Yeah, I don't see him running back.
He's going to be the most talented horse in the race. Yeah. The issue is going to be whether he can get the distance to ground. That's not the issue. The horse has always had want. But here's the thing. Closing sprinters, when they stretch out, they struggle a little bit. But I'm with Andy. I don't see why not taking a shot, because he'll be the most talented horse in the race. It's just whether he wants to get the distance.
I'm not saying I'm going to bet on him, but I would take a shot if I were him too.
If he shows up and runs huge in that race, how fun does this older horse division get?
Yeah, I agree. And just on the idea of trying to win a Whitney with him, I think it's a great move by him. And the other thing is, turn him back into the forego if he wants at the end of the meet, you know?
Race 7 on the turf, 7 furlongs for non-winners of 3 lifetime. It's Belgian for Joe Sharp right now. The favorite time for a paddock report with Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Bayern for $25,000.
Taking a look at the horse who will probably be favored at post time. That is number 3 in here, Belgian, for trainer Joe Sharp. And I feel as though that the 7 furlong distance may possibly be his optimum run of grounds, because he looks like a horse who wants to run a mile at least, or more than that. But his form would suggest that maybe shorter is better. And 2, he is a horse that is pretty sharp. He's been bouncing on his toes. He certainly has that nice kind of light step to him, especially here in the paddock. I like that when I see that in a horse. So he's extremely well conditioned heading in here. And like I said, I think 7 furlongs suits him down to the ground. Moving on to number 4, Mongo Nation. Can't quite say the same for him in regards to the distance, because he is that smaller, compact type of runner where the 5.5 is more ideal. He looks great here. I can't fault him whatsoever. He's really well muscled, very fit, off a little bit of a break as he'll make his first start for trainer Rudy Rodriguez. But I feel as though the 7 is really pushing him as far as distance is concerned. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. We're approaching the 10-minute mark to post. We'll have much more on this 7th race. When we come back, you can play this race and all the races that we bring you each and every day by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. When you bet $200, you'll get $200 in your account. New member bonus. You got to use the promo code LIVE to take advantage. Go to nairabets.com to get signed up. We'll be back. Post parade from the 7th is next.
And they're off in New York. The premier state bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses, restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish first, second, or third at New York tracks. We have the quality.
Audible, no doubt about it.
You have the opportunity. New York breds. Get with the program. The best program.
You're watching Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus. Riders up for race 7. As we get a look at Belgian, 3-2 favored in here, second off the claim for Joe Sharp. Luis Saez on board today.
At the end of the day, his races may just be better than the horses he's facing here. He's second on the claim for Joe Sharp. I guess, Paul, one of my concerns would be he is coming back racing just, 11 days ago at Suffolk Downs. Maybe that could be a bit of a concern.
No, that's a big concern. But he has like about 6 or 7 races way back that wins the race. But it is, wheeling back quickly. And why did Michael Stidham drop this horse for 32? Probably because there was no claiming races to run on the turf or that the horse he could find. They put blinkers on the horse. Joe had a little bit of a plan, tried to put him on the front end.
Well, it is fair to ask the question because he didn't just drop him to 32. He dropped him off of his worst effort.
Yeah.
He dropped, guys drop off bad efforts. It's a cause for us. But then he came back and ran so well at Suffolk. And the horse who beat him, Dream Doctor, is a very nice horse that's run around here.
Meanwhile, Mongo Nation, the foreign here for Rudy Rodriguez. Here's Rudy. Rodriguez off the trainer switch in turf sprints over the last 5 years, 21%.
Yeah, the limited sample and the ROI's been there. I like the trainer switch. Not that David Fox, who has him, does a good job. But, Paul, this horse is taking a very needed drop in class.
Yeah, very needed drop in class. And you know what? The one thing they do get there at Gulfstream, they get loaded 5-furlong fields. So you can get in a lot of trouble over there. So I think swinging to these turns will help him.
Well, the horse who was second in his last race is Pure Sensation,
yeah, of course,
who's won our Jaipur and finished third in it the other day. And, there he was running at serious horses there. He wasn't particularly competitive either. Is 7 furlongs too far for him?
Well, listen, he ran against, when he did run 7 furlongs, Small Bear, Big Handsome. Those horses would be, giant in here.
1 to 5.
And he was attending the pace off a layoff, so...
He wasn't good.
He wasn't good, but now he's in 35 non-3. Yeah, he's going to be, might be tough.
Here comes our post braid, and here from post 3 will be the one, like the vow for Charlie Baker.
This is a horse that's more suited to the dirt and feels like a major long shot.
2 horse is going to have the rail. This is Love Your Buttons, Manny Franco for Bruce Brown.
They put this colt back on the turf, and he responded with the win. In his last race, he just threw in a clunker. He's going to have to turn it around.
Joe Sharp trains the 3 Belgian. You guys sound like you're waffling on this one a little bit.
Well, he's the horse to beat by a mile in here, but I'm trying to beat him, but I'm not against.
Andy didn't catch that one.
Oh, Belgian waffle.
Here's the 4 Mongo Nation. Irad Ortiz Jr., Rudy Rodriguez.
Wow, laughing at his own stuff. Drops to 35 for Rudy Rod and Irad.
As if you didn't feel sorry for him before.
Baseline, the 5, Javier Castellano for John Toscano Jr.
Not in particularly good form, turned back in distance.
Daddy's Home is the 6. David Cohen and Gary Gullo team up.
Maybe that's the hunch play. To start off our Naira late pick 5, Be Gone Daddy won. Now Daddy's Home for David Cohen. Right a little bit above that morning line.
And 38-1 outside, Abel Iscano on Full of Mind for Napal Chatterpaul.
Well, Greg is full of himself and his jokes. But on paper, this horse can't win.
Little hunch play there, sort of. Ties in, I guess, at 36-1. Even money now. Wow.
Isn't he supposed to be even money this horse?
Yeah, he actually is supposed to be even money in this horse because, listen, I understand if you project this horse to bounce, even if you're a sheep player, whatever kind of player you are, buyer player, and the horse is going to regress, he can regress and still win this race.
I get the numbers, but that's a quick comeback. It's a question mark,
I agree,
right?
and also he was a horse that was dropped by a good trainer in Mike Stidham and obviously ran well for Joe Sharp, but you sometimes wonder with these horses, will they hold that form for a long time? I'm trying to beat him with the 4 Mongo Nation I took a small shot with, but I don't think there's any strong argument that he's not the horse to beat.
And I think that's the right horse. The 4 is the other horse in here because moving to a new barn, Rudy Rod's so adept to that, and this horse that may want to rate a little bit today and try to come from a little bit off the pace.
Can we talk about the 6 Daddy's Home a little bit?
Sure.
That's sort of horse we haven't talked about. What do you think of him cutting back a little bit in distance here? I don't think his last race was mediocre, but that was a pretty tough field. He's not impossible.
Well, I know that before the show, Wolfie and I talked about this horse, and the turnback numbers are good for Gary Gullo. The turf numbers aren't. But this horse those last 2 races are not bad, and blinkers have helped this colt by the factor. So I don't understand why he's 7-1. If the race was to break down, he's going to be coming late, right?
Why is he 7-1 and baseline is 6-1? Because I'm not in love with the 6's chances, but he feels to me on paper to be considerably more likely to win this race than the 5 baseline, right? Shouldn't he be a much shorter price?
Well, I don't get it. I mean, obviously, Javier Castellano helps the price a little bit
Yeah,
with the
I
5
guess.
as we take a look at baseline.
He's going to need more than Javier.
He's a horse that's shown a ton of speed, going a mile and a 16th. What's he going to show? Going 7 furlongs. He did get left in the gate, or not left, but purposely taken back a long time ago when he was in the Charlie Baker barn, and he's just closed up a little bit, you know. But that was a pretty loaded race. But
Baseline's been in 2 straight races where he was controlling speed, particularly last time, and he just completely stopped. I mean, to me, at least to me, on his recent form, he is completely out of form.
Listen, and there's nothing against anything, but this horse has been in some good barns. Motion, Charlie Baker, and Brad Cox. Now, you know, maybe he's starting to cycle out of form, you know?
What about Love Your Buttons? Sorry.
Make a quick thought. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I thought he ran very well last time against much weaker. Don't get me wrong. But last time, I mean, you guys thought Axtell was interesting the other day and beat a very tough field coming out of that race. And that was a slow-paced race. Now, Axtell obviously ran much better than Love Your Buttons, but this isn't a tough a field as the one that Axtell came back and won. I don't think he's impossible. I just want to make 2 prop bets. I want to bet the 2 beats the 5 and the 6 beats the 5. Those are the 2 bets I want to make. Can I get even money from you guys on those?
No, I think I agree with you.
Minus 110. Minus 110.
I'll lay 110.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll lay 110.
For more on Love Your Buttons,
110,000.
let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Taking a look at this Bruce Brown trainee, I like what I'm seeing from him. And as you guys were saying, probably drops out or does drop out of a much tougher field. Just very healthy, has progressed nicely throughout the year, and just feels like despite that last effort, which, as I said, competition a little bit deeper, has been in good form in Bruce's barn. So I don't see why in this spot he can't be competitive here, especially at 8-1. The horse that caught my eye in the warm-up is the one that Andy is hating on, in number 5, Baseline. I get why you wouldn't like him on paper necessarily, but he just warmed up very nicely, framed himself up nicely on the bridle, had a great coat to him in the paddock, just rich and hydrated overall. I'm not saying I love this horse, but he kind of won me over at least with his physical presence. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. Price keeps getting lower on Belgian. 3-5, heavy favorite now in the 7th race.
3-5 is a tough price for me to take on any horse, but I understand why he's a short price. He runs his last. I'll put it this way: he runs his last race. 3-5 is an overlay.
Right.
There's no way there's almost no way on paper that anyone can come close to him if he runs his last race.
And here's the thing: it was one of the better races he's ever run, and it was just 11 days ago.
But he's run some good races down at fairgrounds. I mean, they're not. It's not like it's out of this. It's not like it's totally dichotomous.
Not at all. Not at all. But you'd like to see a little spacing in there, don't you?
No, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Or not necessarily.
But here's the other part about it. He only had 1 race since April. I mean, he's had some issues before, so maybe it's a good sign that he's coming back in.
Yeah, it's not always a bad sign they come back on short rest. I mean, the trainer's not running him thinking he's going to lose. He saw a spot, so my horse doing well, I'm going.
The thing about the 3 that's scary, if you look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races on the paper that win the race out of the 10.
Right.
So it's really tough when you look at a horse at 4-5. I mean, I get it if you try to beat this horse, but at your own peril.
So Baseline keeps getting bet. Maybe I'm wrong.
And how does the favorite win this race?
How does he
From
win?
where?
From a tiny bit off the pace.
Speed.
Who puts any pressure on him?
Nobody on paper. The 5's going to be sitting second. Maybe Javier stalks him. So the 5's going to put him away and hold the others off. Good luck to him.
Maybe the 5.
So if he's alone in front,
I don't know if he.
Yeah, alone speed and faster than the other horses. Yeah, that's a very dangerous combination.
combo.
Especially in a turf course that's gotten very firm.
If anyone can put some heat on, it's Javier
I
on the
think
5.
the 4 Mongo Nation is going to be
Really?
closer than the pace figure
Yeah,
suggests.
coming out of those 5
Switching to
furlong
Rudy's
races.
barn, stretching out a little bit. I think that they'll look to be aggressive because they realize their main competition is the 4, so they can't just let him walk out front.
I'm with you.
Heavy odds-on favorite, back down to 3-5 on the 3 Belgian. Can this horse win back just 11 days later? Let's go upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call.
Ready for a start. They're off. And it is Mongo Nation who had the best beginning. Here comes Belgian through an opening on the inside, but Mongo Nation's a little bit quicker early and gets away to lead by 1.5 lengths, and Belgian will sit just off the pacemaker with Baseline to the outside. And then it's Daddy's Home. Love Your Buttons down toward the rail, full of mine. And the trailer is Light the Vow. Up the backstretch, Mongo Nation. 3/4 of a length ahead of Baseline, running in second. Belgian from off the pace through a 22.75 quarter is 2 lengths off the lead and pinned in at the rail as they move for the turn. Daddy's Home is fourth on the outside by a length and a half. Then it's Love Your Buttons, full of mine on the outside, and Light the Vow around the far turn. Mongo Nation a half length on top, Baseline on the outside second. Belgian behind the leaders in third as they make their way around the turn. Then to the outside, it's Daddy's Home, followed by Love Your Buttons after a 45.94 half mile. They're coming toward the top of the stretch, and Mongo Nation and Arad Ortiz Jr. turn for home on the lead here. Belgian now finds running room, but is 2 lengths behind coming to the 8th pole. And then Love Your Buttons on the far outside and Baseline down to the final 16th. Mongo Nation still there. Belgian trying to come and get him. Love Your Buttons third on the outside. Mongo Nation, here comes Belgian. Love Your Buttons, 3 of them down to the line, and it is Mongo Nation holding off Belgian and Love Your Buttons. And then it was Light the Vow and Baseline in 121.23.
Mike Francesa's Mongo Nation winning the 7th here at Belmont Park.
And we talk so often about how important starts of races are. And it's not that the 3-horse got left in here, Belgian. He just didn't break Paul that sharply. And Mongo Nation, Rudy Rodriguez had him ready to go because he broke like a shot.
He really did. And I'd like to see if we could get the head-on out of the gate, because there might be an inquiry here, because the rider of the 3, Luis Saez, he had sort of cut off the 2 right out of the get-go and sort of took position away. I'd just like to see it again to see if I see anything there, because it got close really late here with the 2, because the 3 in between horses goes on his wrong lead, and he starts to gain a little bit and sees the horse on the outside, and this turns out to be a great horse race.
We don't adjudicate things that happen at the start, so I doubt that there is, but you never know.
Yeah, I just want to see the start, because it looked like he had taken. I want to just watch the beginning of this race.
This is not what we're looking at.
Oh, we're not looking at it. We'll get it up here in a little bit.
4-3-2 unofficially, and Ford just broke outward a little bit and then tried to correct himself. And here we go.
Yeah, you got to keep it rolling. And the 3, watch the 3 is trying to get underneath the 4. Right here.
The 3 is the horse.
Right under 4, and then watch right here. He knows he's got a bad position.
No,
so watch him right here, Andy. He's going to move to the outside and drill the 2. I'm watching this race right there.
Oh, yes,
right
you're right.
there.
You're right about that.
So
that was 16th of a mile into the race.
It might have cost the 2 the position, you know.
We'll see if there's a foul. No, you're absolutely right, Paul. You're absolutely right about that. I'll tell you something. With that trouble especially, and they weren't
we lose the race
flying
by that
up front.
much. Yeah.
The 2 horses in this race, Love Your Buttons, ran very well. I won my prop bet against Baseline.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah. Greg, what did you bet?
1,000. No, I took your side. Remember, 5-1 on Mongo Nation. Mike Francesa for now with a victory. We'll wait and see.
Well, what Paul's talking about is involving the 3 and 2.
Right.
Now, we're not saying there is an inquiry, but Paul was pointing out would involve the 2nd and 3rd place finishers.
So we'll keep you posted on that. Belgian 1-2, second on the board. Love Your Buttons 11-1. But Mongo Nation, impressive performance here. Getting the job done. It got to the front early on, outquicked Belgian.
Well, the break was the whole thing. He broke like a shot.
We're going to take a break. Mongo Nation, the son of Speightstown, back in the winner's circle. We'll return right after this.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live, and the colors of Mike Francesca here with Mongo Nation. Irad Ortiz sporting them. Irad, Mongo Nation was super game today. He just really stuck his neck out there.
Well, she broke good. She broke really quick out of there. She come from 5 furlongs at Goldstream, so I know she's gonna break good. Probably be on the lead, and I take the lead. The horses on the grass, every horse going to the front, finish first or second. They've been running so good, so I take it, and she was taking me the whole way, and she was ready to win today.
I heard you kind of answered my second question about this turf course. Does it matter what distance you're at? It just seems as though horses on the lead are just performing well.
He's performing really well. I mean, I think the track helped him a lot. Earlier we went a mile really fast, 20. Season 21 probably is a little wrong. I think probably 23, 22. We still so fast for a mile race, and still going on the end. You know, open all like 5 lengths. I finished second. I get beat. I said, man.
Right.
So you have to be first, second, really close. I think on the grass course to win the race.
All right. We'll see if it changes with the weather. But Irad, job well done with Mongo Nation here.
Thank you.
Okay, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. I hope Mike Francesca fired a few dollars away in his Naira Bets account on Mongo Nation here. Nice win and impressive performance from this horse who wins for now the 3rd time in 12 career starts, but this is the first win since back in March of last year.
Mike Francesca has Twitter now. You got to be careful. He might have tweeted out Mongo Nation. Congratulations to the connections here. And they get the job done here. The Son of Spice Center, the Lear fan mare, Chow. Now 3 for 12 lifetime.
We're going to take a break in the action. We will be back. More to come on Belmont Park Live. Oscar Performance. He was brilliant off the bench, and that is scary for the rest of this division because it looks like he can only get better as he continues on in 2018. We'll be back.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Make Naira Bets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With Naira Bets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NairaBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. Get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NairaBets.com.
Oscar Performance is ranging up on the out. Oscar Performance is ranging up on the outside. Majula closing down the center. Balarax is next. Force the pass and fire away. Oscar Performance has taken the lead after 3/4 in 108.36. Oscar Performance a length and a half. Major Look on the outside is second. And then Voodoo Song toward the inside. It's Oscar Performance in front. Oscar Performance wins the poker by a length and a half over Major Look.
Huge performance off the bench from Oscar Performance, and Brian Lynch just did a tremendous job getting this horse ready. Multiple Grade 1 winner, former Breeders' Cup winner, and a very special win for Jose Ortiz. This is the horse who actually gave him his first Breeders' Cup win.
Wow, that's cool. And, you know, it's so rare that you see a race like that lives up to the expectations. I think at the end of the day, this horse is so good that he was winning Grade 1s last year at 1.25 miles, even though it's fast. It's a distance that's too long.
Yeah.
Not too long for him, but much past his best distance.
Yeah, and, you know, cutting him back to a mile just made his kick explosive. And look, he's the type of horse that it was a front runner going a longer distance to ground. He's now settled, and the older he's gotten, he's been able to rate, you know?
Tied a world record that was set back in 2010 and betters a track record that had stood for nearly 20 years, elusive quality back in 1998.
Yeah, and the turf is obviously very firm.
Right.
We've seen other records, but it was a tremendous performance. I mean, make you look. Second place finisher has improved for Chad Brown, got an absolutely perfect trip. He ranged up outside Oscar Performance the 8th ball like he was going right by, and Oscar Performance just knocked him away like he was a gnat, and this is a good horse.
And Voodoo Song's been in great form, and he ran giant as well.
That's the best
Brian
race Voodoo
Lynch,
Song ever ran.
had said he wanted to bring this horse back a little bit sooner, so didn't quite work out to plan, but maybe it's going to work out better than he expected in the end, because this was a lights-out performance. He beats a great group, and now it looks like he can improve off this. He is going to be something special as a 4-year-old.
And expect to see him in the 4-Star Dave up in Saratoga, which is early in August. I think it's the weekend after the Whitney. And I already can't wait. This is a very exciting horse.
He's going to be a miler to be reckoned with.
We're going to take a break. We have more to come. Our feature race still ahead on Belmont Park Live. Fire Key, last time on the racetrack. She became a stakes winner, trying to follow that up with a win off the bench. We'll have to deal with weak fare for Christophe Clement, whose States debut was very, very good. We'll be back.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With NyraBets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. NyraBets, racing's best play.
Eclipse champion Blaine notched over $4.3 million in earnings, including this historic victory over Zenyatta. Now he's making a name for himself as an internationally successful stallion. Recent top runners include multiple graded stakes winner Fault and French Classic winner Senga. In the ring, his yearlings have sold up to $350,000. Among the top sires of his crop by lifetime graded stakes horses, his 2018 stud fee offers outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Al Jazzy wins. Tribute to Atlas.
I am Christophe Clement. I am a trainer. I am Christophe Clement. I am a trainer. life has been a bit different than most people. My dad was a trainer, successful trainer in France when I was a kid. So, you know, I've always been around horses. Riding out for him when I was a kid, riding, you know, in show jumping as well when I was like 14, 15, 16. And because of my father's contact, it was a bit easier because I knew quite a few people in the business. My favorite part of being a trainer is to be, you know, around horses. You know, I always tell people I make quite a few mistakes in the morning training. I'll try to fix all my mistakes in the afternoon, just to be around them, to feed them. And the more time I can look at them and being, you know, with them, that's what I love about that job. Horses do better when they follow each other, when they train together, because they stay more relaxed. Mother Nature made it that way. So I do train them by group every morning. And I've got a routine where I try to spend as much time as I can outside of that stall. And I'm a firm believer also in schooling, which is the reason why you see us going to the paddock in the morning. I've always believed that we have to try to keep it as simple as possible. We humans make it more complicated than what it is. It seems to me that we're more efficient if we can keep an individual training for each horse. And some of the fun memories with me as a trainer probably would be the two horses who had, I'm very proud of their career, would have been Geoponti and Tonalist.
Time ticking away in the Triple Crown. Commissioner down inside. Tonalist between horses. California grown, laboring late. Here's the wire, and it's a photo finish that goes to Tonalist.
As I consider myself a New Yorker, I guess the Belmont Stakes would have been my favorite race in a way, yes.
Oh, tremendous trainer. He's going to be sending out Week Fair, the 4-horse in this upcoming race, but names like Geoponti, Voodoo Dancer, favorite of mine, Forbidden Apple, back in the day won the Manhattan, Winchester, some of the greats he's trained on the turf.
Yeah, Geoponti, you forget how great he was as a turf horse, and he was second to the great Zenyatta on the pro ride.
Yep.
The first Breeders' Cup Classic that she was in.
Tremendous horse.
Oh,
from a
tremendous horse.
From a mile to a mile and a half,
Yeah.
he was a tremendous runner. And Christophe Clement, one of my favorite horses, and a horse that he trained that most people remember is sort of a horse that disappointed all too often, but Die Never. You may remember he actually ran in the Belmont Stakes against Empire Maker, but he was a very good horse. I love that horse.
And of course, Christophe broke through finally, 2014 in the Belmont Stakes with Tonalist. Here's a look at the horse he is sending out in this upcoming race, 4-year-old filly by Stormy River. Week Fair, her state's debut. It came May the 10th here at Belmont. She missed by just a half length.
I thought she was good, Andy. She broke actually sharp. Most of the time, Europeans don't actually break that sharp. But I thought she was pretty good in this backtrack.
Did you think that she hung a little bit in the money when she got out in the clear? And in fairness, it wasn't that fast a pace, but she kind of got there and just didn't seal the deal.
Yeah, she hung a little bit. You thought she was home, and the Glen Hill horse just out-finished her easily. And you could see she's a small, tiny filly. I wonder if she sort of stopped a tiny bit towards the end there.
It wasn't that fast a pace, so
True.
To be fair, I think she ran well in there, and most of the speeds kind of hung around. But she kind of got there and just didn't seal the deal. But she goes less of 1 furlong less today. Maybe that helps her.
Meanwhile, look at Fire Key. Can she fire off the bench? Her last win, her last race. Stakes victory over a multiple graded stakes place runner. Let's go downstairs for a paddock report to Maggie Wolfendale. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
Greg, we'll start on my end with the horse you were just talking about, and that is number 3 in here, Fire Key, as she is coming off the back of, albeit late November, a big win in the autumn days over there at Aqueduct. And she's just a filly who got, mare now, that got very good throughout, actually, the year of 2017. She comes back in here. She is certainly marching with a purpose. I like the way her demeanor is, her attitude. She's forward. She's in the bridle. She's alert. Those ears have been pricked forward from the time she's set foot here in the paddock. Fitness-wise, maybe she does need the proverbial start. We'll see. I don't think she's facing any killers in here, that's for sure. But I also think that now with another year under her belt, she looks even bigger. She's actually filled out a little more, bigger behind the saddle, those nice strong hindquarters, which are just so important to have with these turf sprinters, as Fire Key looks to get back to her winning ways here in 2018. Moving on to a filly who dances every dance. That is number 9, JC Shooting Star, mare. Again, she is 6. But I like her going this distance. I used to not, but when she blew away the field 3 starts back, albeit once again another filly mare who really relished the going over at Aqueduct, but she looks great coming back here. 3rd off the layoff for Dave Donk, really well conditioned, super coat on her. You can see every kind of muscle highlighted and defined on her, just what you want to see in a racehorse. And as I said, that kind of 3rd off the bench cycle might prove to be a winning one for her, but we'll have to find out here, Greg, as riders are up in the paddock.
Maggie, thanks. This is no doubt the one to beat here in this race. It goes through Fire Key. We mentioned that she beat Stormy Victoria, multiple graded stakes last time out. The horse who was 4th in this race, Ultra Brat, she's come back to win 2 grade 3s, including the Gallerette by more than 10 lengths.
Oh, if she runs back to this race, there's almost no chance that she'll lose today's race. And with Paco Lopez, she appears to be the controlling speed on paper in today's race. I mean, she's got so much going for her. How can she lose?
We said the same thing back in the last race, didn't we?
Well, I did pick the winner. I just want a little credit here. But you're right. And the other thing about her, she is coming off a layoff. And I'm sure even trainer Pat Kelly.
Let's head downstairs, back to Maggie for more.
Joined here by Pat Kelly, who will send out Fire Key. And Pat, just kind of going back to last year, she just got very good for you.
She was a great to have in the stable, and as you say, she got better and better through the year. We capped it off with a nice win in a new stake at Aqueduct at Thanksgiving, and gave her the winter off. She had been in harness a while.
Is it feasible to think that she can return to the level that she did before having the break?
I hope so. She's very consistent, and she's matured. I don't know if you noticed. She looks like a big stud horse. She really grew. They don't usually grow from 4 to 5, but I think she put on weight and matured and really enjoyed her vacation. So if I got her cranked up, hopefully she'll take care of business.
I could see that. Is she sharp, you think, heading into this one?
Yes, definitely sharp.
It's good on this turf course. Pat, best of luck with Fire Key.
Thank you so much.
Greg?
Well, Paulie, positive signs here for Fire Key off the bench.
Yeah, listen, Pat's a very good trainer, very good conditioner. But if the one time you're going to try to beat this mare, it's today, because she hasn't raced since November. And if you look at all of her races off the bench, she hasn't won. They've been some of her worst races. So maybe today's the day you can beat her.
I like seeing Pat get himself a good horse in his barn. He
Yeah.
doesn't have a lot of horses. Pat's won some very, very big races in the past. The train horse like risk averse. And you sort of forget about guys like Pat Kelly, but he knows what to do with a good horse.
He does.
Post-parade, we begin with Anita, partner trained by Mark Cassie, Javier Castellano aboard.
She seems like kind of a sort of wise guy type horse, and she can run well sprinting, and she could be a little closer. I just wondered if she was a little slow.
3 horse, here is Fire Key for Patrick Kelly. You just heard from the trainer.
As we said, she's just the horse to beat and appears to be the controlling speed.
4 horse. At 3-1 on the board here, Weak Fair for Christophe Clement.
Good second place finish last time out at about 11-1. And, you know, she won a couple times overseas at 6 furlongs, so maybe the help in distance or the shortening in distance will help.
Here's the 8 horse, Miss Gossip. Kendrick Carmouche on board for Carlos Martin.
You know, this horse could be the sneaky horse. And, you know, she's getting bad. I know there's scratches, but she ran a good race first time in the Carlos Martin barn.
9 horse at 9-2 here. JC's Shooting Star for David Donk with Manny Franco.
The lack of pace hurts her, but she found a home in 6 furlong races, and 2 of her last 3 starts at 6 furlongs have both been very good efforts.
And Wheatfield on the outside at 9-1 for Nick Zito. Blinkers on.
Yeah, and this mare has run some good races on the turf, although she's never won. And the coach got a bullet drill into her over the Saratoga Turf training track.
We're going to take a break in the action. I want to remind everyone, get signed up, started, and you could play this race right now, and you can get $200 in your account. New member sign-up bonus of $200. Use the promo code LIVE. Go to NyraBets.com to get started. Feature race coming up. We'll be right back.
Bayern turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back here in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
Back on Belmont Park Live. Thanks for joining us. Those watching on MSG Plus, Greg Wolf, Paula Duca, Andy Serling. Our show brought to you in parts by champion sprinter Run Happy, now on the farm at Claiborne in Paris, Kentucky, on a legendary Stall 1, formerly held by Secretariat, among others. 7 for 7 as a sprinter, undefeated sprinting, all while running without Lasix medication. An incredible talent, set a track record in the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland that year as well. What a punctuation mark on an incredible season. Meanwhile, here's a look at JC's shooting star here. David Donk, Manny Franco, and a 3-time winner on turf.
And it's funny, David Donk took a shot and turned this horse back to a 6-furlong turf sprint at the end of November. For the first time at the end of her 5-year-old year, it was a no-pace race, and she just destroyed the field. Now, a field not as strong as the one she's in today, but she came back off a layup and ran a very tough 6-furlong race featuring Lady Alexandra and Stormy Victoria as well, and she ran a very credible 4th. They tried a mile last time. It's far at her best. This is the right distance for her. Will she get enough pace?
Cuts back, Paul, 3rd off the layoff.
Yeah, you know, she carried 115 pounds last time, you know, against olders. I mean, against youngers, against 3-year-olds and upwards. She's a tough read. She can sit a very good trip. That one thing about her, she has shown speed in the past, but going 6 furlongs, she lays back and then she's going to make one run. She needs some pace to run into, and she could maybe get it in here, but the problem is when the pace has finished, like the 3, that's the worry.
On the outside, Wheatfield at double-digit numbers, 11-1. You don't necessarily think turf sprints with Nick Zito, but this horse is intriguing.
She's moved back and forth between Nick's barn and another barn when she's been out of town for Danny Pish. I believe the trainer ran the 2 dead heats the other day, actually. And she's run well for both of them. She's run some very good turf sprints. She's run against some very good horses out of town. She also doesn't have much speed in here. She just doesn't feel to me, Greg, like a winning type horse. But her last race was okay because that was another race that was dominating the front end, and she did well to be 3rd.
Makes a change, blinkers on. You have to assume that equipment change with that bullet drill coming in as well. For more on this horse, let's go to Maggie.
And guys, I think any horses that don't have any speed are really up against it on this course. As you heard me talking to Irad Ortiz earlier, it's very tough to close on these courses right now. So it does put a horse like Wheatfield a little up against it, but she does that blinker, so maybe there's an intent to get her more towards the front end. They're not that big of a cup, though. They're short cheater cup blinkers. I will say that she actually does have more of that proverbial turf hoof to her, so I actually like her on this surface. I just don't think this going is really lending itself well to a horse with her kind of style. We'll see what happens as well with number 4, Weak Fair, and how she's ridden, as she will cut back a furlong here to the 6, and she's a very small and petite runner, so that leads me to believe that 6 might actually be better for her. But again, the same story rings true of, is there an ability to make up ground here, especially going the 6, or is the pace going to get away from these horses? Guys?
We'll find out soon enough here. Certainly Fire Key is not going to be far out of the mix at all.
Not at all. I mean,
she's got to be in front, especially with Papa Lopez.
If somebody wants to go crazy, I just don't see her trying to chase either. She can just sit right behind and finish. That's what makes her so dangerous in here.
If she's my horse, I send her to the front. You don't fool around with the best horse. You ride the best horse like the best horse. You go to the front and make them all play come and catch me. If they don't go to the front with her, if she breaks out of the gate, to me, it's a very foolish move.
Can she win off the bench? The 3 Fire Key, the 1 to beat. Let's go to Larry Colmus for the call.
Ready for a start here. They're off. Fire Key comes out quickly and goes for the lead in company with Miss Gossip. It's these 2 to set the pace. And right behind them are Wheatfield, and on the inside comes Weak Fair. JC Shooting Star next, and Anita Partner is last, as Miss Gossip makes the front up the backstretch, and Fire Key will yield the front and sit 2nd. Wheatfield on the outside 3rd, Weak Fair 4th, JC Shooting Star is 5th, and 5 from the front. The trailer is Anita Partner, the quarter 22.12. Racing for the turn. Kendra Carmouche hustling Miss Gossip out of there, and now the lead is 3/4 of the length. Fire Key is 2nd by 2. Wheatfield under encouragement to keep up with the top 2. Weak Fair will ride the rail into the turn with 4 to make up. Then JC Shooting Star. Last of them all is Anita Partner. as they come toward the top of the stretch here. And Miss Gossip is the leader, but Fire Key's trying to come and get her after a 45.11 half mile. JC Shooting Star and Weak Fair trying to come on as Wheatfield steadies back there in 5th. It's Miss Gossip, Fire Key, JC Shooting Star on the far outside, coming with each and every stride. JC Shooting Star and Manny Franco run them down to win. Fire Key was second, Miss Gossip was third, and Weak Fair fourth in 107.54.
Quick times continue on this turf course. JC's Shooting Star for David Donk. Manny Franco from off the pace gets the win.
Well, we ensured that someone went off the pace because every one of us said there was no way to close. Me especially, Maggie, we all thought you couldn't close. This is a horse that's found a home at the distance, and she was able to overcome a very tepid pace. Win or lose, I don't think it's the right move if they rated Fire Key. She's the fastest horse. It was a slow first quarter. You make a decisive move and you go, and they didn't do that.
Well, I think Paco thought, okay, we'll just turn this into a 2-horse race. I don't think he thought JC Shooting Star could close into that pace, especially the way this turf course has played in 45 and change. We'll get you the head on. Does the 9 come in on the 10 a little bit on the complete outside? You're going to see the 10. 2 from your left. He pulls up, but he's out of
the other horse came out. Actually,
yeah, the 4.
No, the 4 came out.
Yeah, and the 9 was out of horse. Excuse me, the 10 was out of horse at that time. But give JC Shooting Star a lot of credit. He really ran down basically 2 lone pace setters where the speed has been holding up on the turf courses here.
JC Shooting Star, 5-1. Third choice on the board here. And early on, Kendrick Carmouche, he got aggressive with Miss Gossip, and Fire Key relinquished the lead to him.
They're all afraid of Kendrick, the riders, and Kendrick takes advantage of it, you know? He knows if I go, guys see me and they go, oh, I don't want to be involved with Kendrick. I'm not saying that Fire Key would have won if she had gone to the lead, and she didn't run great to finish second. She didn't run badly off a layoff. I just don't know why you take away a horse's strength. Because somebody else wants to go to the lead? Show him who's boss. Go. She's faster than the full state.
David Donk right there. And you know what? They finished home in like, what, 12 and 2. So what did JC Shooting Star really come home in? Sub 12. And,
Yeah.
so she, give her credit. She ran them down.
He does great work with his turf runners here. David Donk gets another victory. We saw him heat up just about this time last year, gearing up for Saratoga.
One of the best trainers, the backstretch. A terrific person as well.
JC Shooting Star, 5-1. We'll be back with prices, and we'll set up the nightcap right after this.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warthrock. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 mile at Keeneland, then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. His runners include stakes winner Star Doza, along with a growing list of talented young runners. At public auction, his yearlings have sold up to $200,000. Data Link, standing at Claiborne Park.
Back on Belmont Park Live, JC's Shooting Star with the win. Manny Franco, David Donk team up for the win. They head to the winner's circle. Let's go downstairs to Maggie for more.
And we were just discussing, Dave and I, about that we think JC's Shooting Star has found a home sprinting on the turf.
Yeah, our last 2 races last year were really good sprinting on the, or I should say our last race, and then came back on the license fee here and ran really well. And I got talked into running the mile with New York Breds, but you know, this is what she wants to do. She's been really versatile. She has won 2 turns on the dirt, on the grass, but at the end of the day, this is what she wants to do.
And now as a 6-year-old, is this what we keep her at?
Ideally, yes, because she's still eligible for this condition one more time. So, you know, and then, you know, we'll play around. Obviously have to with open company, but that's a good problem to have.
Was there any trepidation with you in the fact that the previous turf races today, it seemed as though you couldn't make up any ground? And how, because of that, how well does it speak of her performance?
Yeah, I think so. You know, speed is good. Obviously, the turf is, you know, crazy fast, but it's summertime. So, you know, didn't look like a lot of pace. I thought, you know, 45 and a tick, but that's normal over this. You know, turning for home. I didn't think she had to get there. She did. Yeah, I'd have to say it bodes really well.
All right, Dave, congratulations. Job well done here.
Thanks, needed one.
You start to heat up at this time of year.
But remember, I'm a weekday trainer, not a weekend trainer.
Well, we like to see you on the weekends. Dave, congratulations again.
Thanks.
All right, Greg.
Well, the good thing about that, especially at Saratoga, what, there's 4 weekdays each week?
Yeah, right?
A lot more chances to win races for him.
So why doesn't he do better in Saratoga? That's what I got to ask David. He should crush up there, right? He should
had
win
a pretty good
33%
Saratoga
more.
last year.
He should win 33% more up there because they have those 4 weekdays.
Put more pressure on him.
He's a good guy.
$12 for the win. And it really was about this time. He started to really kind of crank it up, get going. It carried into Saratoga, and love to see him do well.
Worked for the great Woody Stevens.
Part of those, I believe, those last 2 of the 5 straight Belmont Stakes victories for that legendary barn. $235,000 carryover in the pick 6. We've had a couple of numbers in here. Not easy by any stretch. And this last race is impossible.
Right, but I mean, you look at it, what's parlay? 72, 180, about 5 by 600 in the first winner. It's about $3,000. A horse, the 4, who's going to be favored in here, is paying $17,000. So there's carryovers. The 1, yes.
It'd be like bets.
980,000.
Yes.
Late pick 5. It's been the best bet in racing. Bet exclusively online with Naira Bets. If you live outside the state of New York, that is the only way to play it. On weekends, $100,000 single winning ticket payout. And this is a look at the follow along in the pick 5 sequence.
You almost got us home on Sunday, Paul.
Yeah.
Your horse had no excuse in the last finishing second, but man, that horse
gave it a run.
Still stunned.
We'll be back. We're 22 minutes away from our nightcap. We'll set it up when we return, and more from Royal Ascot. More upsets and some huge performances, including Aidan O'Brien running 1, 2, 3 in the Queen's Vase.
Make Naira Bets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With Naira Bets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NairaBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. Naira Bets, racing's best play.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live, I want to remind everyone, Royal Ascot, one of the most anticipated meets in the entire world. NyraBet's offering a $1 million hitter split bonus on the Pick 4 every day of the Meet the Pick 4. Tomorrow it begins in race 1 with the Norfolk Stakes. Visit nyrabets.com for details on how to get involved. $1 million split to get involved in that Pick 4. Going to look at some of the other big races that have happened, and we've had some brilliant performances and some other big prices. We talked about the Queen Anne, 33-1 to start off the meet. How about 25-1 in the Queen Mary Signora Cabello coming up with a big number?
I just love it when they split the field in these races. I think it's so much fun to watch, and she was very game, actually, between horses because she sort of came back on for the victory. So horse is now 3 for 4 lifetime, Greg, and comes off a listed win at York. An improving horse, but an exciting blanket finish.
For Phoenix Thoroughbreds, gets the job done, does so again at a huge number, and it is fascinating to watch these fields split. And it's so tough to gauge if you have horses in contention on either side. That's why you just have to go all out and see what happens at the end.
And of course, Phoenix Thoroughbreds, they have Gronkowski.
That is right, who ran huge in the Belmont Stakes, first start here in the States. Queen's Vase, Kew Gardens, and now the St. Ledger on the radar for this horse, winning at 1 3/4. Aidan O'Brien runs 1-2-3 in here.
Yes, with a horse named after an area of Queens, actually very close to Belmont Park. 1-2-3. I believe that he has now won this race 6 times, and 4 of the last 6 years. His first win this year at Ascot, but he's a pretty good trainer.
This is, yeah, I'd say so.
Crushes the field.
Dominating performance here.
Like the distance.
Owned by Michael Tabor. And now bigger and better things on the horizon for this horse.
Shows you how good the horse were in the Epsom Derby, right? This horse was drowned in 6th in that race.
Duke of Cambridge and Al Jazzy. This gives trainer Marco Botti his first ever Royal Ascot winner at the Royal Meet. William Buick aboard for the winning ride.
He really stepped up for this win, too. He's coming off a 3rd place finish in a Group 2 out of town. And this was a very nice win. William Buick, I know he had at least 1 win yesterday, right?
He did. Having another great meet. Of course, Frankie Dettori on top of things with that treble that he had on opening day, but William Buick not far behind, and Al Jazzy with the stylish score in the Duke of Cambridge. Meanwhile, Prince of Wales' Stakes, and Cracksman by a mile was the horse to beat after, especially having beat Poet's Word convincingly by 7 lengths at Ascot in the Quipco Champion Stakes. Same course, same distance pretty recently, but this time Poet's Word turns the tables.
And I tell you what, it wasn't even that close. This is probably as big an upset as we've seen so far. And maybe, at least with the older horses, the biggest upset in Europe with the major horse, because Cracksman was considered, I have to think, the best older horse over there going around and ground. And they were way ahead of the others, but winner was extremely good, Poet's Word.
Sir Michael Stout sets a record as well. 76th win at the Royal Meeting, and he would do that one better with a 77th a little bit later on in the day. Incredible, over 41 years of work, 77 winners at the most prestigious meet in the world.
Has to be considered one of the greatest trainers of all time.
Without question. Yeah. And we still have more to come. Tomorrow, of course, is the most prestigious day of that meet. We'll have more on Royal Ascot throughout the week, so keep it tuned here to Belmont Park Live. Our nightcap coming up next. Mile on the Turf, New York Breds, maiden special weights, and right now it is Pirelli Tower, 2nd time out for Christophe Clement. We talked about some of his nice horses. Gio Ponti, one of them. This is the son of Gio Ponti.
Well, this horse is the lowest by far in the wheel pace when it comes to everything. I mean, here's the 10 in here, More Than a Saint for Kendrick Carmouche and Brad Cox. And a horse with speed, who do you put aboard? You put Kendrick aboard, 5-1 currently, and maybe the colt to catch in here.
No, I don't think he can get in front of Let Me Tell You, the number 8 near a Spritzer stretching out, but he will be forwardly placed. He comes out of a very good race against Open Company at Fairgrounds, and these are state breds.
Be interesting to see. That horse actually showed some speed sprinting first time out. You got Kendrick aboard. See this battle early on between these two. A lot more to talk about, including the post parade for the 9th. When we come back, we're going to take a break. More Belmont Park Live on the way right after this.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. Nice has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial.
the premier state-bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses, restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish first, second, or third at New York tracks. We have the quality.
Audible, no doubt about it.
You have the opportunity. New York breds, get with the program. The best program.
Back on Belmont Park Live, our nightcap coming up. Mile on the turf, New York breds in a maiden special weights, and one of the key contenders, that son of More Than Ready right there, the 10 horse in the background with more on the 10. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale. This paddock report brought to you by Hillendale Farm, outstanding Bayern for $25,000.
And he goes by the name of More Than a Saint in here, Greg, as he will be coming off of a layoff and making only his second start against New York breds, and he stacks up quite nicely against them. He's extremely fit in here and well conditioned for the ever dangerous Brad Cox barn. I like the more ground for him as opposed to his first effort when he ran 6 furlongs. I had said in my notes that day that he'd probably want more ground. Obviously, he gets it after coming out of a route race down at Fairgrounds, which he ran incredibly well in. And like I said, he looks as though he is fit and ready to go here. Moving on to horses that might give him a little bit of company on the front end, including number 8 in here, Let Me Tell Ya, who has yet to go long on the turf. Physically, actually, I'm okay with it. He is a little more built downhill, but he is a bigger type of individual. He looks great in his coat and flesh. The only thing is, I will say actually now that they've gotten the tack completely on him, he's a little more settled, but prior to that, he was acting up a little bit, and sometimes horses that kind of get on edge, it doesn't work well when they try a longer distance. Kind of same thing with Skatsuku, but I've always had it in my mind that Skatsuku wants more ground. So in his third start, he'll get it here for Linda Rice. He is very much on the muscle, but he's also just very strong looking, and he's very scopy and with that elongated body to him. So I think this is the right kind of spot for him. He looks fantastic. Just hopefully he can keep a lid on it as far as his energy is concerned, Greg, before he goes in the gate.
Maggie, thanks. Good stuff as we get set for our post parade coming up here. We are approaching the 9-minute mark to post as we look at Pirelli Tower. Second time out, son of Gio Ponti, trained by Christophe Clement, just missed by a nose in that debut.
What a bob she lost. I mean, excuse me, he lost. I still can't believe watching again as Horse lost that photo. But he also got a very good trip in this race. Not that the pace was that fast.
Yeah, listen. I think you need to tread lightly with this horse because to me, he looks like he's supposed to win easy right here, and he hung. I'm sorry.
He did hang. What a bob he lost, though.
He lost the bob. I get it, but he looks like a horse that wants to go like a mile and a half.
I believe he lost, right?
He runs the same. He runs like the same thing. Like same grinding style. So I'm wondering the cutback of the mile will help his punch or not.
Well, I'm also going to say this is a deeper field he's facing.
Yes, it is.
And so he may be the horse to beat, but there's a lot going on in this field.
Absolutely, but he could improve.
100%.
Second time out, he probably got a lot out of that race. But you guys are right, no doubt.
He's the horse to beat.
He hung a little bit, and here's a look at the 10, More Than a Saint. And, you know, we thought that the different horse was going to get to the front last time out. Kendrick Carmouche, he was on board Miss Gossip, and he outquicked that one. We know how aggressive he is.
Right. And put it this way, he can put in all. If the 8 decides not to go to the lead, he can have the lead, but he can't get it from the 8 if they both want the lead. And I don't know why you want it anyway. If you look at this field he ran against at Fairgrounds, the fourth-place finisher came back and improved 10 Beyer points. The third-place finisher came back and won. These are solid runners. These were open horses. He's running against New York breds here. For a trainer, Brad Cox, who's very tough to beat. There's just a lot to like about him.
There is a ton of to like about him. That was his first time going around 2 turns against open company. I mean, the 10 has a lot to like. You're right. And, I mean, who's a hotter trainer than Brad Cox? He's winning everywhere.
35%, a little bit better than that actually right now. As you take a look at Christophe Clement, of course, he trains the 4, Pirelli Tower. He trained the sire, Gioponti. As good as there is in the country on the turf over the last 10, 15 years. He's been incredible.
Pretty good.
$200 sign-up bonus by getting started with NyraBets. Go to nyrabets.com, promo code LIVE. Take advantage. Get $200 in your account. Play any track, anywhere, anytime, including this 9th race coming up to close out our Wednesday afternoon card. And this is a tremendous betting race.
It is. I mean, I think we've seen very interesting races all day and a couple of 5-to-1 shots winning. I don't think there's anything against the 4, but even like a horse like the 3 horse for trainer Todd Pletcher, and we can talk about him more later, Singapore Trader. He didn't run that well sprinting off the layoff last time, but he was coming off a 9-month layoff. And in his debut at Saratoga, he was on top of a pace that collapsed. And a race won by a horse that came back and won a stake, albeit in the dirt, but a talented horse nonetheless, an evaluator.
Here's Spa Jazz, 31-1. Dylan Davis on board for Barclay Tag.
He seems to be a bit over his head based on his one turf race, but it was coming off the layoff as well.
Another big price, Painter's Prize for Charlie Baker, 19-1.
You know, not bad 2 efforts on the turf. You know, this horse has run 2nd and 3rd, so could improve at 19-1.
Interesting. Singapore Trader, the 3, Javier Castellano for Todd Pletcher.
Should appreciate the stretch out and distance. Another horse who also could be forwardly placed in this race. He's dangerous.
Here's the Clement runner, the 4. We showed you that first time out effort, just getting bobbed out of a win.
Wow, doesn't get much grayer than that, the 3 and the 4. And the 4, Pirelli Tower, like you said, just missed the bob. And if she runs that same race, or he runs that same race, it's going to be tough.
Only first-time starter in the field. Son of Kitten's Joy, Riendo.
A 3-year gap from the last fall from this dam, but she's actually produced 2 turf winners, and she's got some pedigree for a horse, a huge price.
There's 10 Ike for Upland Farm and Tom Morley.
Not the worst 20-1 shot. He was giant 2 back, and then last time he might have needed that race.
Jimmy Jazz, the 7, Mike Luzzy, Tom Bush team up.
He actually ran well in his debut. Broke slowly in a slow-paced race, rushed up in the backstretch, dragged back, and then actually ran a little bit at the end. I think he's dangerous at a price.
Took no money first time out. The 8, Let Me Tell You, 2 sprint stretches out, blinkers on.
You know, this horse's turf races are not bad. I actually think this horse has got a legit shot at 7-1 putting the blinkers on.
Zechariah next. We'll see the 9, Manny Franco aboard for Graham Motion. Tried to go gate to wire last start, got caught.
Disappointing. He set a slow pace, but a different scenario today and could improve and win.
Was in that race where Pirelli Tower lost that bob. The 10, More Than a Saint, Brad Cox, Kendrick Carmouche.
You got to give this horse credit. At least got to the front of 13 other rivals and just got beat at the wire.
Skatsuku, start number 3, trainer Linda Rice, Junior Alvarado.
She actually could easily improve stretching out and is a dangerous player, another scat daddy.
And 20-1 on Bad Guy, Pablo Fragoso, trained by Carlos Martin.
You know, this horse is obviously improved on the turf, but maybe a second-run horse and gets a bad post. But although Pablo's been riding hot.
A lot of thirds for this horse. Might want to key the 12 horse in third 6 times, I should say, in 13 starts is running third. 20-1 on the board. 9-5 favorite remains the 4, Pirelli Tower, as we take a look here at Zechariah. And again, the Grand Motion runner in that Pirelli Tower race wound up 3rd after setting the pace almost every step of the way until the bitter end.
You have to imagine that they'll go back to the drawing board. They're not going to be aggressive here. Obviously, they're horses that are faster early anyway, but maybe this horse can improve rating, and it's not like he's run terribly in either one of his starts.
No, in his first start, he didn't break great, and then he got shuffled all the way back, and then he made up a little ground, and I think Jose Ortiz got on him last time and said, let's not mess around, let's try to put him on the front end. I think you're going to find something in between today, you know what I mean?
Meanwhile, Skatsuku, 2 starts, couple of wide trips in both, just 2 starts, both sprinting and now stretching out. A lot of times we like to see that 2 sprint stretch out for the first time a horse can be dangerous.
Yeah, Linda Rice is best with second-time starting maidens, so that's something that bothers me a little bit. Got a very good trip after breaking about a length slow last time. You know, too wide, angled out a little bit in the stretch. I still don't think this horse I think this horse can win, improving, stretching out. I mean, that's your hope if you like this horse.
Yeah, that is the hope. Because Sparky came back, did not run well after that win. So I think the 11 needs to improve more and gets a bad post position.
We just showed you Zechariah the 9. There he is again, the son of Kitten's Joy. And for more on the 9, let's go downstairs to Maggie.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of trip Zechariah works out here. We saw him first time out, devoid of any early pace, and then second time, he really jumped into the bridle, yet he's at a slowish type of pace that day, talking about Zechariah here. And I don't know where he fits actually in the running of this race, but I will say that third now start of his career, really fit. And he's that kind of attractive liver chestnut color with those big dapples on. So he's always going to be appealing to the eye. So I like what I'm seeing from him. I just, like I said, I'm not quite sure where he fits as far as dynamics are concerned. Moving on to a long shot, that's number 7, Jimmy Jazz, a horse that I didn't mind first time out and actually ran okay. And there's every reason to believe that a horse for Tom Bush, who is a guy who tends to bring his horses along in the slower way, can improve second time out here. He is that much more tucked up and defined overall. So I think we will see maybe a better effort from him. And he is 25-1. Greg?
Yeah, the price is right. If you like Jimmy Jazz, he certainly showed ability in that first out effort. Didn't take any money, ran well better than his 38-1 odds would indicate.
I've got him alive in my pick 4. I think this horse actually ran well in that race after getting left in there and rushing up in the middle of the race.
Yeah, and he grinded away. He's got the kind of style where he might like to cut back too for Dreammaker Racing, and you're getting just a giant price at 26-1. There's a couple horses in here that you can go to that can you can get a price. The 3 Single Board Trader is a horse that, that race at Saratoga from the 10 hole was good and may have needed that last start.
I'm going to say if he's able to run back to his debut, and even build on it, or even go back to it, he's a major player, and I think he can make the excuse that he probably just needed his last race. And I think that's why Todd Pletcher and his assistant Byron Hughes ran him at 6 furlongs last time. They probably needed a race. They know he's better going longer. I think he makes a lot of sense in here. This is a big competitive field, and that means there are going to be horses that are talented that are going to go off in the 6 to 10-1 range that can win. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but these are the kind of races you have to love as a horse player, because you can find a horse like the 3 who you may fancy, and you're going to get $16, $18 if they win.
Meanwhile, it's this horse who's been favored throughout, deserves to be off that last out effort, but do you take the stance? You would have preferred to see him win that race and he hung a little bit, or do you think he improves here second time out?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, a lot of times when horses are sort of ready to win first time out, you feel as though the trainer had them cranked up to go the first time, and you wonder if they take that step back. This horse was a very unlucky loser, but also got a very good setup. But I will say, it's not as though that was a blazing pace in front of him that he was closing into. It's not like they were cooking up front and he should have just blown by them. It was a fairly moderate pace. So it's not as bad a hang, Paul, to me as it looks watching it visually.
And the racetrack has obviously sped up since that last race. So is it going to favor him or not? Like I said, he's a big lumbering type that cannot be stopped. So he's going to need the same trip to win. Listen, I picked him, but I wouldn't bet him at 9-5.
Well, see,
I think the 8's the bet, to be honest.
I would argue with you that he's actually going to get a much different trip today, because that was a slow-paced race. In all likelihood, because of horses like the 8, this field could get stretched out, and he could find himself well back in the field. So he's going to have to run a completely different race today.
Paul brought up a good point, though. You look at the board here, and you see 9-5 on him, and would you say that at 9-5, there's no way I'm going to play him?
No, I wouldn't play him at 9-5.
No, but I don't have any problem. He's one of probably the worst to beat.
Yeah, he is the worst to beat.
Yeah. But 9-5 a little short.
I don't know. How much short? I mean, should he really be over 3-1 or 5-2?
No, I guess he's
he was 3-1 morning line.
Yeah,
but
no, I think it's a little short. I agree. It's almost like favorites. Money gets drawn to favorites almost magnetically. Yes, 8-5 is ridiculous. There's too many other possible horses. And this race is not going to be run necessarily in his comfort zone the way the last race was run.
Couple left to move in line. Intriguing Nightcap here on Belmont Park Live. Who will step forward and break their maiden? Pirelli Tower, the 4-horse, the favorite second time out for Christophe Clement. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Let's go to Larry Colmus.
Just a few left to go into the gate here as 10 Ike is coming up to stall 6. Rider is off of Let Me Tell You in the gate. Luis Saez is dismounted as 10 Ike is about to come up to line here. Looks like Luis Saya is getting back aboard. Let me tell you now. So after 10 Ike goes in, we'll have Skatsuku and Bad Guy to be the last two into the gate. Pirelli Tower continues to be the favorite here at 8-5 as Skatsuku is coming up to stall 11. Little resistant here is Skatsuku. Stepping forward now. And going in. And the last one will be Bad Guy. Bad Guy goes in. They're all in line. Trying to settle them down a bit here. They're off. Good beginning for Let Me Tell Ya, who's going out to set the pace, along with Painter's Prize and More Than a Saint on the outside. Spa Jazz sits behind them, gets taken back now as Jimmy Jazz rushes up on the outside into contention. And then it's Riendo, followed by Skatsuku on the outside. And then Singapore Trader, Pirelli Tower, racing about 9 lengths off the lead in the early stages, followed by Zechariah, then Bad Guy to the outside in 10 Ike. 23:09 was the first quarter. Up the backstretch they go. It's Let Me Tell Ya and More Than a Saint locked in early battle here. A length and a half ahead of Painter's Prize, who's down on the inside of Jimmy Jazz. 2.5 lengths more, and then comes Riendo as they continue their run toward the far turn. He's surrounded by Spa Jazz on the inside and Skatsuku, who's 3 wide. Bad Guy goes up there 4 deep. Pirelli Tower still about 8 off the lead after a 46.16 half. Then Singapore Trader, followed by Zechariah. 10 Ike is still the trailer around the far turn. And now it is More Than a Saint and Kendrick Armouche who lead the way by a length. Painter's Prize with a clear shot at this front runner. Jimmy Jazz is next on the outside. Let Me Tell You retreats. Skatsuku is next, and then comes Bad Guy, and they're at the top of the stretch here. More Than a Saint comes for home with a 4-length lead. Bad Guy on the outside up into second. Painter's Prize third. Jimmy Jazz fourth. Pirelli Tower's got a lot of work to do. Then Singapore Trader on the outside. It is More Than a Saint holding on to the lead from long shot Bad Guy, who's cutting into it with every stride but running out of time. More Than a Saint holds off Bad Guy. Pirelli Tower was third. Singapore Trader fourth in 1:34.99.
Kendrick Armouche, Brad Cox team up and get the win here in the Nightcap. More Than a Saint. Tackling, let me tell you, got the lead early. He put pressure on, though, and then just burst away from this group.
But he ran well to hold up the 12, who actually got a very, very nice to finish second. Ride from Pablo Fragoso to finish second. But Kendrick Armouche, Brad Cox, I can't believe this horse was such a good price coming out of a race against opens.
Yeah, you're right. His horse shouldn't have been that pricey. You're right. I said it before. Pablo's been riding unbelievable, and the 12 was rolling here late and put a little scare. And here's the thing about the 4. We watched the replay. He's a big lumbering type, and he just couldn't navigate himself through that traffic being that far back as the favorite. And good job by Andy here. He picked this horse on top, and he basically gave you the late pick 4.
I don't want to say this after the fact, but I'm going to say it after the fact. The 12 should not have been 26-1.
No,
I agree, but that's what we talked about, horses getting lost. I agree. And you know, the post maybe scared people, not that it's that big a deal. This horse ran very well, by the way, because the pace wasn't blistering, but it was very honest, and it's not like the other speeds held around.
But he was the only one running
First
at
ran
all
very
at
well.
the end.
Kendrick Armouche, More Than a Saint. Oh, got to hold off Bad Guy. He knows he's coming, trying to keep this horse busy. And the son of More Than Ready gets just enough out of him to hang on here for the win to close things out on this Wednesday afternoon. Does so at 5-1. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with prices and wrap up the show right after this.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include 4-time graded stakes winner Miss Sky Warrior, 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, multiple stakes winner Bal Harbor, and Dubai Group 3 winner Shamal Nibras. Last year, his 2-year-olds sold up to $540,000, while his yearlings fetched up to a whopping $575,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now With NyraBets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. NyraBets, racing's best play.
Back on Belmont Park Live, More Than a Saint, coming out of Open Company Maidens. That was at Fairgrounds. Back in New York against New York Breds, and gets the job done with Brad Cox for Niall Brennan.
Brad Cox just been on fire. So is Kendrick Carmouche, son of More Than Ready. The Irish River Mare, St. Francis, Wood, gets the job done. And that pick 4 comes back 405 on the button. And Andy gave that out basically cold.
Cold deck the pick 4. Nice
Yes.
job, Andy.
Thank you.
Well done.
I was due.
Yeah, and look at the Naira late pick 5. It just shows you how what value you get. 405, you get the favorite to start it, and you get 1100.
Who won the first leg?
The two horse won the race as your favorite.
Daria's Angel. No, sorry, race 5, Be Gone Daddy.
Be Gone Daddy.
Right, 5-2. Yeah.
Pick 6, by the way, hit for 23,000 plus.
Wow.
And
You
it
needed
was
the $15 range. That's all you needed, right underneath there.
Oof.
Right? But listen, the 11, 12, $13, they're just as hard to pick too.
They are.
You know?
Yep.
Well done, whoever got that, by the way.
After the fact, I'm so good at coming up with these winners.
I know, right? By the way, that is a $2 payout, $23, not 50 cents. $2
Right.
payout. Yeah.
Correct. Good catch there. We take a look at the Belmont Showdown standings, and Laird laying over this field.
Wow.
You can get involved with this without risking any of your own money, but winning points which equal money in your NyraBets account. Visit Nyra.com/showdown each and every day to get involved with the races that we air on Belmont Park Live.
Pretty impressive, by the way, to have that much money in your bank account.
Yeah, it is. Wild Applause coming up this weekend. And Chad Brown has a horse by the name of Punked. Javier Castellano will be aboard and coming off a win at 1 1/16 at Belmont in the second state's start last time out.
Well, he's 1 of 3 for trainer Chad Brown out of the 5 listed to run on the turf. I think she may be a tough one for him.
Yeah, she's gonna be tough to beat in there, and I'm sure Chad probably is gonna have the first, second, and maybe 4th choice in there.
You know, to be honest, I actually have the PPs in front of me. I'm kind of curious because, to be honest, none of the 3 of them for Chad Brown are killers. I mean, Lady Subi did win her 1 turf race. Bertada's been a little disappointing. We'll see. Actually, the horse that maybe favors the one on the outside, Got Stormy for Mark Casse.
Going to be a good race. That is coming up this weekend. Of course, we're going to be back tomorrow, same time, 4 Eastern. We hope to see you then. Back on MSG Plus in today's feature, David Donk, Manny Franco teaming up with JC's Shooting Star, and it looks like cutting back in distance, sprinting on the turf is now her game going forward. We'll be back on Thursday, 4 Eastern. We'll see you then.